That is so cool.
G'day, Doug Fraser here again. A few years back I posted a YouTube clip on starting my BSA 1908 car engine, and in that clip I said hopefully when lockdown restrictions ended I would be able to pick up a few car parts to build or create a car around this engine that I had. Well, lockdown did end and I ended up driving up to outback New South, and I got what was best described as a truckload of scrap metal. Anyhow, in amongst that scrap metal were two chassis, both cut up, and one of them turned out to be a 1908 chassis, so obviously that was the one that was going to be used. I thought it wouldn't take me that long based on the bikes I've built, but the car's a bit more complex. Anyhow, 4 years of work later, I've ended up with this. It's done a couple of drives. I've done about 500 miles on it now, and it's working out to be pretty good. Anyhow, I'll show you the car, describe a few things, and fire it up. But to start with, I had to pretty much make everything. Now what you see here is a body, and it doesn't have any body filler in it or anything like that. It's powder coated. So what you give the powder coated is what you get back. It's not pristine by a long shot, but it works. It's not exactly as the BSA bodies were made, but it's a period style or design, you might say. When the cars originally came to Australia, and there's very, very few of this series of BSA that ever came to Australia, I know of the remains of about a dozen maybe, but this is certainly the oldest by far. It came as an engine and chassis unit, and then you sent it off to a bodybuilder to actually make whatever style of body you wanted. So bodies were pretty free. That was the government's way of keeping the coach building industry at that time going and transitioning into building motor bodies. So this is what I've ended up with. I've built pretty much everything you can see here. The body, the seats, the wheels. They took quite a while. Had to make all the spokes and make the engine accessories. When I rebuilt the engine, I did modify it a little bit, and as you can obviously see, I fitted twin carbs to it because I fancied a slightly better performance. This is a 2.6 litre engine. That's what they call the 1418. It didn't last in production very long because it was considered underpowered, and they upped it to a 1520. I quite like the small engine. I've managed to get what I consider to be quite reasonable performance out of it. It is onto a 4-speed gearbox from 1909, to which I fitted a ring gear, so I could fit up an electric start, which of course meant I had to have an alternator, or some form of charging. So quickly, it should be pretty easy, but it wasn't. Anyhow, I've done that, and it seems to start and run quite nicely. I'm still learning the finer points of a non-synchro mesh gearbox, shall we say. I do crunch a few things, but never mind. The sweetest change is when I switch on the overdrive, because I have fitted it with an electric overdrive off a Laycock de Normanville overdrive unit, which is bolted up hard against the gearbox. You'd have to get under the car to see it, but take my word for it, it's there. Anyway, I'll fire it up. We'll see what it sounds like, and I'll start by using the starter button because it makes it easy for me. can see, it starts quite easy on the electric. I have the original magneto off the engine, a 1908 Bosch, which still works very well, but I did fit a Lucas SR4, which gives me the ability to fit a impulse starter. Anyway, I'll show you how it cranks. I hope. There you go. Where's the one that starts nicely? The impulse is the secret to making these engines crank start easily. When I initially built it, I thought I'll never be able to turn this thing over, my shoulder's not strong enough. And the impulse, piece of cake, starts very easily. Anyway, that's the car. So we'll take it for a quick spin around the road. We won't go that far. The original car had a top speed of 24 miles an hour, I think they specified in the sheets I've seen. This one's a little bit quicker. I've had it up to 90 kilometres an hour, or 55 mile an hour, and I will admit, much faster, it does wander a little bit. I didn't like the original braking system, so I do now have four-wheel brakes on it. Still not what you'd necessarily say is dynamite, especially in heavy traffic. But you take it easy, it's not too bad. Anyway, we'll take you for a quick drive, and that'd be great. Now we'll have a go sticking into overdrive. So we're flying along. There we are in overdrive now. Like I say, it's the least crunchy gear change I can do. We'll pop around as we come to slow down to this corner. You can hear it pick up revs. There you go, back to the top. It's a really handy thing to have, that overdrive, and the car pulls it quite well. So out the open road, it's sitting on about 20 pounds going along, which is pretty good oil pressure. They didn't originally run at oil pressure like that, but with the modifications it does. Back into overdrive again, and we'll just cruise. There we go. We better think about going back. You can see the motor meter telling me the engine temperature. I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up on that. At the moment it's sitting on normal. Here we are on overdrive again, round we go. You can certainly tell by the whine in the gearbox, the gears aren't exactly new. Anyway, that's it. That's the spin around the block. You might not actually use it as a daily commute, But the one thing I will say for a car, it's darn good fun to drive. It really is. Puts a smile on your face every time you take it out. Anyway, that's my BSA. 1908 with some mods, I suppose. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, wait for the next one. Thanks, bye.